Do we need merch? I mean, it'd be nice to have some, but do you guys think we need merch? Or do I have to wait until 1,000? Let me know. Hi Crystal Balls, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please think about sticking around, liking, commenting, and subscribing. For everybody else, thank you so much for being on this journey with me. There is about 230 of you, and I really appreciate it. And while it's an uphill battle to get to 1,000, you guys are amazing. And I love you, and I thank you. And there's going to be a special Patreon thank you there, where you guys are going to get a surprise little treat from me, but also a video about Josh Duggar. This is Patreon exclusive only. So thank you guys. If you want more information, check my information box down below where you can see all the lovely things that I do. So just remember to take a moment out of your day to like, comment, share, and subscribe to myself, but to your other friends too. Guys, everybody is hustling right now, and spread the love, spread the cheer. Mom and pop places, friends that are hustling, small businesses. It takes 30 seconds. Really little bit of time, but it means the world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, before we get started, this is spectacular, so I am going to throw a trigger warning because of the content. I'm not going to go into gory details, but it's definitely spooky, gross, and freaky to even think about the true story of this whole situation. We're going to focus on if H.H. Holmes was actually Jack the Ripper. Nobody knows the identity of Jack the Ripper, but everybody knows who H.H. Holmes is. And there is a distinct possibility that they are one and the same. If you guys don't know the background of H.H. Holmes or Jack the Ripper, I will be doing separate videos about them. There is a lot, especially when it comes to H.H. Holmes, because nobody is sure of the amount of victims that he actually had. But it could range as far as 300, 1,000. Nobody knows, because this man was a con artist and a killing machine. Let's go back to the 1800s, and which is why I'm going to be using my steampunk cards today, and talk a little bit about H.H. Holmes, and then a little bit about Jack the Ripper. Moki just jumped. And see if they could really be one and the same. So H.H. Holmes was best known for his murder castle in Chicago, Illinois. I'm not joking. This was a hotel that he had built from the ground up and fired people on a regular basis, so he would be the only one who actually knew the full layout of the hotel he made called the Castle. But it turned out to be a nightmare. He would murder people in various ways over and over and over again at his whim. And the fact that the World's Fair was in Chicago right at the height of this entire situation with the castle, countless people went missing because the castle was one of the biggest places for people to stay at. It's like the saying in Hotel California, you can check out anytime you'd like, but you can never leave. The castle is not standing today, but I have been, I'm a frequent visitor to Chicago, and I have not been on the H.H. Holmes tour yet, but I'm going to do it. And it is definitely a huge factor in the city. There's a lot of ghost stories and a lot of things about Chicago, but this is one of the most disturbing things. And H.H. Holmes didn't just kill in Chicago. There are confirmed cases in Indiana and I believe Wisconsin. I mean, there's several states. Went on a murder spree. And again, this hotel was built specifically for these murders. They had underground passages and chutes where bodies could just go and be incinerated. So many people. And he did not discriminate against man or woman or child. He killed everybody. Everybody. And at the end of his life, he would say that he is the devil. He does have an autobiography out there, but he was a famous con man, so there is very little that you could actually believe about his own words. Now, two things to check out if you, well, one really, but the other one's kind of a fun thing, but if you want to check out more about H.H. Holmes, read The Devil in the White City. Now, this is a book based off of H.H. Holmes' life, and this is supposed to be a movie that was, I mean, it's been years since it's supposed to be made, and the last time I knew Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to be H.H. Holmes. But this has been multiple years. This movie has been attempted to be made year after year after year after year, but just, it doesn't happen. And I don't know why, but that is a book to check out if you are interested in this story. Again, I'm going to be doing something completely separate on him for Spooktacular Spectacular. Also, if you guys are familiar with American Horror Story, American Horror Story season, it's either 4 or 5 Hotel, is loosely based off of H.H. Holmes. So you can get an idea of the gore, the terror, the disgust, and everything like that on that show, minus the vampire stuff and just focusing on the hotel itself. Definitely pretty horrific. It's actually my favorite season of American Horror Story. Now, Jack the Ripper. Jack the Ripper was a person in London, England, which I took the Jack the Ripper tour and I was able to, you know, kind of go underground and see some stuff. So that was really cool. But Jack the Ripper was known to kill ladies of the night, prostitutes, or people that he or she assumed to be a person of the night. Now, this person would kill these women with almost like a doctor. Like, they had some sort of knowledge of cutting and anatomy and things like that. These corpses were normally mutilated and female parts were either carved or taken out. Very specific, very odd, but this was a horror that lasted for quite a while. And, you know, people were terrified to go out at night. And it's not known who Jack the Ripper is, but Jack the Ripper is somebody that was self-proclaimed. Jack the Ripper did write letters to the media and to the police and signed Jack the Ripper as their own name. There have been many rumors of who this person is, including royalty. It could have been a surgeon. At that time, it could have been a barber. Back then, your barber was also responsible for surgeries. It could have been a hairdresser, or a barber, hairdresser, same thing. It could have been a dentist. It was somebody with some sort of medical knowledge. But everybody assumed that Jack the Ripper was a male. I've always assumed that Jack the Ripper was a female. But again, gender is confusing and not simple. And I don't, that's a whole other spectrum and story, and everything is valid. So I don't want to discriminate against anything, but I've always leaned towards Jack the Ripper being someone that at least presents as female. So what does this have to do with H.H. Holmes? Well, H.H. Holmes actually went to school to be a doctor. He didn't go through with it. Instead, he went into pharmacy, but he ended up stealing corpses and doing all sorts of experiments and things in order to get money. During the time that H.H. Holmes was known to be in London is when Jack the Ripper's horror started and ceased when H.H. Holmes left. Again, this is speculation because records are, questionable at best. Moki says that. Records are questionable at best. No one has, that's not a flash, that's Moki. So we don't know for sure exactly what happened. We also have to keep in mind that in the 1800s, you could change your name on a whim. This could have been somebody else traveling. It could have been a completely different person. You can leave one place and go to another and make up an entire new personality and backstory. And the thing is, part of that time, nobody would have questioned who you were because of who you told them you were. Sometimes I kind of wish that was still the case. Life would be much easier without social media sometimes. So the question is, was H.H. Holmes and Jack the Ripper the same person? Let's ask the deck. All right. Very simply, we'll start off with, was H.H. Holmes in London at the time of Jack the Ripper? The real H.H. Holmes, not an alias, not somebody else, but him. By the way, H.H. Holmes is actually an alias. So we've got the magician. Both of these people, I'm going to speak them as both right now because this actually might make sense. Very much a part of the cult. This wasn't devil worshipping, but this is very, very, very occult. This is something that was upside down. It was backwards. It was the damned. It was something very much evil. I have no problem with, Satanism or anything like that. That these are people who were bastardizing Satanism in the most raw evil form. And this is what you see here. This is a magician. They saw themselves as magic. They also saw themselves as someone who took power from other people via the killing. Even though it might have not always been hands-on, it was almost like an absorption of the soul. Very creepy, very evil. The Fool. H.H. Holmes could fool pretty much anybody. And the thing is, his stories were elaborate and detailed, so he could really fool people. People willingly handed over money and their children to him. So it's like he's playing the fool for people. Now I'm starting to not think they're one and the same. The Lovers. So, Okay. So, submitted for your approval of the Crystal Ball Society, I present to you a brand new theory. At least, that I'm not aware of. What if H.H. Holmes and Jack the Ripper, because I said she was presenting to me as female, were actually lovers? What if they were not one and the same, but in a relationship? Because they had way too much in common. There is a couple of particular cases where it seems like Jack the Ripper had to be more than one person. So what if it was? What if it was Jack the Ripper and H.H. Holmes? Because the killings were almost impossible to happen as quickly as they did, given the location and given the fact that they were both seemingly done by the same person, Jack the Ripper. Wouldn't they have the same style? Yeah, very possible. It's very, very possible that they would have the same style. So what if they are a couple? And I'm telling you, a romance like this would be very short-lived because one of them isn't going to make it out alive. Both of them. Oh my goodness. Okay. Were Jack the Ripper and H.H. Holmes two individual people who were lovers? That's coming out. The Eight of Cups. This is quite a theory. It's actually like telling me this is quite a theory you got here. But you know, quantum physics is what I keep getting. But really, really look here. Traveling was not easy back then. You know, it's not like hopping a plane right now and going wherever. Pre-COVID world, it's not like that, you know. How interesting that the likelihood of travel was very, very difficult. Both of them had huge stories. Hold on. Let's get going here. Yeah. The Chariot. This is the Chariot. This is traveling. So I wonder if they had met up before. I wonder if she had met him previously in America and then he went to her in London. Because of the amount of terror and horrible things that have happened, it would not surprise me if these two had met each other previously and were drawn to each other because of this evil crap that they did. Because dark attracts dark. Light attracts light. So it would not surprise me that there would be some sort of relationship happening here. The Hermaphrodite. There's somebody else involved. And I do think there's almost like... Okay, no, there isn't somebody else involved. Hold on. This is more of a religious figure that's upside down. So they were both gunning for the same thing. I think they were both trying to outdo each other in body count, but also what their goal. They really, really were trying to do something for their master. So it could be another person, but sometimes it feels like there's a third person involved, and sometimes it feels like it's an entity that they're doing, which both could be true at the same time. But it feels like I'm outdoing you, you are trying to outdo me, we're going to outdo each other, but this is love, and this is a competition, and this is gross. But it feels like they were both doing the same thing for the same goal, which was either for this person, their hermaphrodite, their master, their religious figure, or it was actually an entity. either way, it was sick and twisted. I really do feel like it's something. Yeah, the Empress. I think Jack the Ripper was a woman. I really do. And I think this is backing me up on this because she was like, London was her playground, America was his. And she looks like she had the upper hand because nobody knew. Nobody still knows to this day who Jack the Ripper actually was. We know that H.H. Holmes was real. I mean, obviously, Jack the Ripper was real. But we know who he was. We know approximately things that he did. There's no question that this person did these massively terrible things. No question at all. Jack the Ripper, it's nothing but questions. Who were they? How did they get away? You know, women did not do a lot in the medical fields that day, but it doesn't mean that they wouldn't try or be taught by someone else. But I think Jack the Ripper ended up winning in the long run. And I keep hearing it was a competition. It was love. It was a competition. As sick as it was, they were in love. Temperance. Patience. That's the thing. She had patience. He didn't. She was very, very patient and very, very methodical. Not that he wasn't patient and methodical in his own way, but he would kill quickly. She would take her time. This is wicked. Justice. I wonder, because she's like pulling a hat trick here. I wonder if she had something to do with H.H. Holmes being caught. He would have done the same thing to her. Huh. Interesting. That is so weird. I don't know if that's true, but it does feel like there's another person involved if it's not another entity. I know that's difficult to explain, but there's definitely evil involved here. I could definitely see this being a couple. There is merit to this, but at the same time, it's a theory. And the cards, they're telling me something funky here, and I don't know if I want to keep pulling on this string until I do individual stories about them, but okay. The cards want to confirm that there was a love story between the two of them. I don't know if you can see that very well. So this is the Ten of Cups. Luckiest card in the deck. But if you take it upside down, it's disgusting. They may have felt like the luckiest people on earth to find another person like them. So I'm submitting this theory in my tarot card reading to you, my crystal balls, to see what you guys think about this story. Was H.H. Holmes and Jack the Ripper in a relationship? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Alright guys, I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. Remember that every single day is a gift. Use your time wisely, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.